Thank you for joining us on this edition of the program Niger Delta Today. My name is Xavier Robert. This is where we bring you updates and activities within the Niger Delta region. Well, today on the program, we'll be looking at a critical issue that has us focusing on decentralization of a pipeline consultancy contract in the Niger Delta region and across the country. What is truly the argument when we talk about centralization and decentralization, and what are those issues that are the front burner and that stakeholders and persons that are concerned in the communities across the Niger Delta region are clamoring for? We'll be looking and digging into that as much as possible. But first, we'll bring to you a story of interest that has us talking about sometimes the stories that shock us the most are not about millions stolen in Abuja, but about stories like theft of palm oil. Now, this incident of a young man who stole palm oil in Oberwana local government area is at the front burner, and concerns are regarding how close he came to suffering jungle justice, and the questions are around what are the issues that we are still not able to address when it comes to how crime is being managed, and how our communities and societies are still susceptible to jungle justice. We would also have joining us on the program Public Affairs Analyst Barrister Martin Ukpe to bring us up to speed with some of the issues regarding this. Barrister, you're welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, this issue, when you received this news, what was the first thing that came to mind? The footages that we are seeing are really gory. The inhumane treatment, you'd see how the young man is being tied down, and it calls for concern. Where do you think we missed it when it comes to humaneness of treating humans? And that, yes, we know, of course, the issue of theft is discouraged as much as possible, but is it right that this young man had to be treated like this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Thank you, my brother. Looking at the gory video, the pictures, the footage, it's like I said, it's very, very gory. It's a sight that should not be held at all. Basically, jungle justice does not have a place in our jurisprudence. It doesn't have a place in our society. The law does not permit jungle justice. The society does not permit that. Our morals does not permit that. Our religion does not permit that. So, holistically, nothing zooms up to jungle justice. The law does not permit that. Our religion does not permit jungle justice. Even societal morals does not permit jungle justice. So, but I don't know how we got to this point that up to this particular century, we're still having jungle justice in our society. I personally detest of the way the young man was tied. No matter no matter the level, the magnitude of the crime that might have been committed by the young man, I think and I know the best way is to, hand over the suspect to the police, to security authorities, for them to carry out the proper, go on with the proper way in which the suspect is to be handled. That is legally. But trying to, take the law into the hand by the people, it is very, very, it is of course, it is happening, and it shocks the entire society to our marrows.
Well, Barrister, another angle to look at this is, when communities and traders who usually suffer losses as a result of incidences of this nature tend to consider the operations and modus operandi of security agents as being slow, and because of that, they tend to take laws into their hands. Do you think that the security agencies can do more towards ensuring that the citizens get to see that when cases of this nature are brought to them, they are going to get the swift responses that they need to avoid incidences of this nature, tackling it from both sides?
No, Mr. Xavier, let me get something correct somewhere. Now, the justice system of Nigeria is not the type that it is displaced in the marketplace. Let me give you an instance. For example, last year, there was this rumor that was smoking that the convict, Udo Hassan, the defendant who was involved in the gruesome murder of the girl from Rwanda, Miss Inyogon, was released from the prison. I don't know if that circulated to your own social media entries. Now, do you know why that smoke was circulated around? Because a lot of people felt that since Ms. Udo Hassan was found guilty and subsequently convicted and sentenced by the court, that the execution process should have taken place right immediately. And of course, the execution should have been circulated on social media for people to actually see that Ms. Udo Hassan has been harmed according to the law. No, that is not how the Nigerian judicial system operates. The judicial system operates and the legal system operates in a different dimension. The law cannot move swiftly as you may think because it is a process, it is not an event. So when something like the one we are discussing at hand happens, the first thing is, since the people have taken hold of the suspects, what they need to do is to hand the suspect over to security agencies. And from there, the security agencies knows what to do. Of course, the security agency is going to arraign the suspect in court. And the suspect will have his day. When you say the citizens take laws into their hand through jungle justice because they probably feel that the justice system is not going to serve their purpose. No, that is wrong. They don't expect justice, as the name implies, is not an event, it is a process. So the process has to overhaul itself. You must go around the cycle. You must take full cycle before you can get to that point where the court now presents justice. Judgment, like I've always said, is not judgment, is not justice. So the court will not tilt towards sentiment. So the citizens must know the basic principles of the law. When the citizens know the basic principles of the law, they will never take the... Because, for example, now if they are handed over the suspect who is tied to the police is only, after the investigation, will now arraign the suspect in court. And from there, the process goes on, and someday the suspect who became the defendant will now have a judgment, and he will either be convicted based on the evidence placed in the court by the prosecution. So it is a process, it's not just a one-day thing. But here in Nigeria, we feel that once someone is caught and called a thief, that of course the court should immediately the next day pronounce him a thief and sentence him, and of course he should be hanged immediately. No, that it doesn't go that way. So I am still appealing to the Nigerian society that jungle justice is not the best. Of course, if you involve in jungle justice and you are caught, definitely you will have your day in court, and you will face even more than what you felt that the suspect that you were trying to execute on jungle justice would have faced in the court.
All right, well, Barrister, I don't know if you have had the opportunity to look at the statistics of jungle justice across the Niger Delta region and how expedient it is. Is it an emergency that needs to be looked into? Is it urgent enough? And what calls do you think the government should be hastening onto at this time towards ensuring that incidences of this nature are nipped in the bud?
Well, for me, I wouldn't advise the government on the part of defending that heavily on jungle justice. You know the problem. Let's even look at the root cause of these issues. What lets one to go into stealing is because, one, there is lack of employment. What I want the government to do is let the government provide employment for the teeming youth of Nigeria. Once someone is gainfully employed, once someone is busy with a good duty, once someone is duty bound with a good job, I don't think that such person will have the opportunity of going to steal. Like the one that we are discussing at hand, he allegedly stole palm oil. That is the resultant effect of him going into stealing palm oil. So if he was gainfully employed, I do not think that he would have had the opportunity or would have even think of going into stealing. That's one. Two, we are talking about, turning down the type of jungle justice in the Niger Delta. Very well. Yes, I've seen it is very alarming. I've seen in Akwa Ibom State, in Delta State, River State, in other states of the Niger Delta. I don't know why this space is sprunging up seriously. But for me, I want to reduce it to poor economy. There is poor economic effect and it's affecting the people very well in the Niger Delta. Of course, the people are hungry, and that's what they always say. So when the people are hungry, they go into certain things such as stealing and what we have witnessed so far. And the resultant effect of you being caught in the act is what results in jungle justice. But however, I think the security agencies should step up the game, should do more to address jungle justice. But however, you can't even just say the security agencies cannot do all. You know why? Because by the time someone is caught stealing red-handed, before you even alert before the security agencies are even alerted, the people around would have carried out jungle justice on the person. So talking about security agencies stepping up their game, yes, very well then. But however, we have to educate our people to the extent that jungle justice shouldn't be served. That's one. Then two, the government should do more in providing jobs for the team youth. And of course, if this is done, I don't think there's any need for anybody to go into stealing. And of course, there will be nothing like jungle justice, because where there is no stealing, there will be no jungle justice.
Well, finally, as we let you go now, let's look at some of the roles that you feel local authorities, market unions, and even you spoke about the security agencies too. What roles should local authorities and even the immediate communities where events of this nature take place be involved in towards ensuring that it is curbed?
Very well. The role of the traditional rulers, the role of the market unions, the role of youth unions, youth associations is very, very pivotal to determining the type of jungle justice in the Niger Delta. Now, every way, in every society, we have peer unions. You have the youth bodies, you have the men association, the women association, market unions, the traditional system. Now, for example, in every location where you have jungle justice served, that jurisdiction is governed by certain authorities, where you have the village chief, where you have the youth leader, and of course, wherever it is served within the market code, it's always very, very disheartening, because these are places that have the market, have a union, they have a government, they have an administration. So why would the administration allow jungle justice to take place? For me, I want the security, I want the government to defend heavily on those authorities who should govern their jurisdiction properly, but they fail to govern their jurisdiction, thereby allowing miscreants. Most times these jungle justice are served by miscreants. They are allowing miscreants to serve jungle justice instead of alerting security agencies and handing over any person whom they reasonably believe must have committed a crime. Like they should hand over such a person to a security agency. So, the government has to bring in these stakeholders into the system and caution them very well. Let them govern their jurisdiction properly. If you are youth president, jungle justice should be served within your jurisdiction. If you are a village chief, if you are the leader of any market union and a thief is caught, allegedly caught within your market jurisdiction, there should be no jungle justice. Let the person be handed over to the authorities of the union, and the union should alert the security agency and make an onward forwarding of the alleged suspects. So these are the roles that these bodies should play in preventing and addressing jungle justice.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Martins, Ukpe Public Affairs Analyst, for speaking to us in Niger Delta today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.